Something unprecedented just happened in the UK property market, and it's going to ripple through every household. Whether you're saving for your first home, trapped in the rental cycle, or sitting on what you thought was a secure investment, mortgage regulations have just undergone the most dramatic transformation in over 15 years, and the consequences are enormous. Thousands of landlords are exiting the market, while financial giants swoop in to acquire entire neighborhoods. Meanwhile, government advisors are quietly drafting tax proposals that could devastate millions of ordinary homeowners. On top of that, a surge of properties hitting the market is creating chaos no one predicted. These aren't isolated events. They're interconnected forces reshaping who owns property, who controls where we live, and whether housing remains attainable for ordinary people or becomes dominated by corporations and the ultra-wealthy. Miss what's happening now, and you could spend years wondering why you got left behind. In this video, we'll break down exactly what's unfolding and why understanding these forces is essential for your financial future. We start with the regulatory earthquake already changing everything about who can buy property and who can't. Back in March, the Financial Conduct Authority, FCA, released guidance that should have dominated headlines but barely made a ripple. It fundamentally changed mortgage stress testing, the mechanism that determines whether buyers are approved for loans. Since 2008, lenders have run punishing what-if tests, asking if borrowers could survive rate spikes of 3 or 4 percentage points. While intended to prevent catastrophic collapses, the logic became absurd. Even as rates declined in 2025, lenders acted as though a financial apocalypse was imminent, rejecting thousands of capable buyers. The FCA stepped in, telling lenders they had far more flexibility. Stress tests should now reflect realistic 5-year projections, not extreme doomsday scenarios. They reminded banks about consumer duty obligations. Stop arbitrarily excluding people who can genuinely afford to borrow. The outcome? A substantial easing of restrictions. It doesn't eliminate stress tests, but it signals more approvals, more transactions, and more market momentum. Ordinary people finally have a better chance of securing mortgages. But the story doesn't end there. The regulatory shift sets up a dangerous dynamic. Easier borrowing injects more demand into an already volatile market. And what happens next is where things get messy. In July, the FCA went even further, overhauling the entire mortgage framework. Bureaucracy that once suffocated borrowers was stripped away. Remortgaging became faster, paying down loans became easier, and exploratory conversations with lenders no longer triggered full regulatory processes. Small lenders were exempted from outdated loan-to-income caps, meaning buyers could borrow 5 or 6 times their salary instead of being limited to 4. On paper, this seems great. More opportunities for buyers, more flexibility. But there's an uncomfortable question few are asking. Is this genuinely about affordability or about artificially propping up property prices? Making borrowing easier doesn't automatically make homes cheaper. Instead, it injects more demand while supply remains constrained, inevitably pushing prices higher. Governments and regulators need growth, transactions, and activity. But history shows this approach has a horrifying track record. Artificial credit-fueled growth has always led to instability, and the consequences could hit ordinary buyers the hardest. And while mortgages get easier, something else is quietly happening that threatens buyers even more. Reports from Rightmove and Zoopla show the highest volume of properties listed in over a decade, with listings up 10% in just a year. Initially, this looks like a buyer's dream: more choice, more leverage, and more competition among sellers. But demand has only increased 4%, creating a huge imbalance. Sellers are chasing buyers, not the other way around, and house price growth is expected to stagnate at 1.52% for 2025, essentially flat after inflation. Why are so many people listing? It isn't because the market is attractive. It's because they have no alternative. Those who locked in historically low mortgage rates during 2020-2021 are now facing the end of their fixed deals and brutal payment realities. At the same time, renters' rights legislation and tax changes are driving smaller landlords out at unprecedented speed. The immediate effect? Short-term rental supply collapses, driving rents higher. Long-term, the landlords leaving aren't just any landlords. They're the ones providing affordable, flexible housing. This sets the stage for corporate investors to swoop in, changing the entire market landscape. And that brings us to the stark contrast between small landlords and corporate giants. Not all landlords are created equal. Individual landlords with one or two properties often keep rents below market rates, delay increases during hardship, and personally maintain properties. Corporate landlords operate differently. Rent rises happen automatically, maintenance is scheduled for cost efficiency, and evictions are algorithmically optimized. Recent surveys show that legislation like the Renters' Rights Bill, combined with tax changes, is deliberately making small-scale landlording financially unviable. The result? Ordinary people who invested in one or two properties are being pushed out, while corporations with compliance departments and economies of scale expand. This mirrors trends across industries. Small bookshops crushed by Amazon, local cafes replaced by chains. Personal service, flexibility, and human relationships are being replaced by profit-driven efficiency. Renters may face higher costs and impersonal management, and first-time buyers face fewer genuine opportunities to enter the market. The domino effect continues with institutional investors moving in, reshaping housing from homes into pure assets. Major players like BlackRock, Legal & General, and Blackstone are no longer dabbling in property. They're dominating it. Entire streets, developments, and even supply chains like brick manufacturers are under their control. Why? Housing is now treated as a financial asset, not shelter. Demand is inelastic. Tenants cannot simply stop paying rent. Corporations profit regardless of economic swings, making housing one of the safest global investments. The consequences are stark. When your landlord is an algorithm, rent increases automatically, maintenance delays happen, and eviction processes accelerate. Human understanding disappears. Ordinary households are sidelined as institutional investors consolidate power. The stakes aren't just about renting. Corporations increasingly control household income, spending, and economic stability. What started as a market for people has become a system where people exist to serve institutional profits. HMRC collected almost $15 billion from stamp duty last year despite lower transaction volumes. Leaked proposals suggest a land value tax could replace council tax and stamp duty, targeting homes above $500K. This isn't about taxing the wealthy, elite. It could hit ordinary families in London and the Southeast. Annual bills could reach thousands of pounds, forcing some to sell or eroding retirement plans. This could trigger a feedback loop: forced sales, falling prices, negative equity, more forced sales. Combined with easier mortgages, a flood of property listings, and corporate consolidation, the market risks spiraling into instability. Ordinary homeowners are caught in a system increasingly optimized for institutional gain, with little room for negotiation or recovery. These forces, easier borrowing, mass property listings, landlord exodus, corporate consolidation, and tax proposals, aren't separate issues. They feed into each other, creating a market increasingly hostile to ordinary people. Easier borrowing inflates prices, forcing homeowners to sell. Landlord exits create opportunities for corporations to acquire more stock. Tax changes could accelerate forced sales, adding to corporate consolidation. The UK housing market isn't just shifting. It's being fundamentally restructured. Homes are no longer primarily places to live. They're financial assets. Understanding these changes is critical. The question isn't whether you agree with them. It's whether you're prepared to make informed decisions about your financial future. The UK property market is at a historic crossroads. Regulation, listings, landlord exits, institutional takeovers, and potential taxes are converging to transform housing into a system dominated by corporate interests. Ordinary homeowners and renters are being squeezed out, while corporations consolidate power, in some cases controlling supply chains and essential housing infrastructure. What happens next affects all of us, owners, renters, and first-time buyers. Knowledge is power. Understanding these forces allows you to make smarter decisions, protect your assets, and anticipate shifts before they hit. If this breakdown helped you, share it, subscribe, and leave a comment. The more people see through the noise, the more pressure there is on policymakers to actually fix the system instead of just propping it up.